Welcome back to Sustainable Energy. Today we're looking at the role of trees to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. We heard earlier about how to grow sustainable forests. But could wood be a sustainable building material in the construction sector? After all, it's one of the world's biggest polluters. Over this series, we've met architects who think it might be the answer. Take a look.
A home for trees inhabited by people. In the heart of Milan, Italy, 2 new residential towers are hosting humans and 2,000 trees.
Vertical forest is a very simple thing. It's a way to concentrate in a very small urban surface, thousands of plants.
Architect Stefano Boeri drew inspiration from the fabled Hanging Gardens of Babylon, and he teamed up with engineers, botanists and ethnologists to make this green dream come true.
We have here 21,000 plants, basically. So it's equivalent of 3 hectares, 30,000 square meters of a real forest in a very small surface of a super dense urban environment.
According to the European Forest Institute, cities consume 2/3 of the world's energy and create 2/3 of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. Meanwhile, the World Green Building Council estimates buildings and the construction sector are responsible for nearly 40% of global final energy use and process-related CO2 emissions. So Boeri's original building project is aiming to solve both a climate and energy problem, while urban forests are growing popular worldwide.
In the winter, we use less heating thanks to this greenhouse effect. And in the summer, we use less air conditioning because the air is cooler.
So it's a very complex ecosystem of humans, plants, insects, birds. We have more than 20 species of birds that are nesting. This is the first building who is really sensible to the change of seasons. It's a mutant building.
The UN is planning to cover 500,000 hectares of land with new urban forests by 2030, and Milan announced a plan to plant 3 million trees by the same year. That's 30% more than are currently growing.
A vertical forest is an effective symbol of the willingness to change by Milan and by the cities. We need to build now green belt all around Milan and also within the city of Milan to have more fresh air, to remove pollution.
Meanwhile, in Vancouver, another visionary architect is hoping to solve cities' energy consumption and pollution problem sustainably with buildings made of wood.
If you're looking at something in this office, everything in this office is wood. We've been, since our inception, 100% committed to the idea that what we build should be pushing towards carbon neutrality or even carbon positive, meaning we store more carbon in the building than we're using to make the building. Wood is an insulator as compared to steel and concrete, which are highly conductive materials. So it actually resists the amount of movement of heat, either from outside in a hot climate or from inside out in a cold climate.
But for wood to be used as a sustainable material, Michael Green says it must be sourced sustainably. His studio uses old or dead wood, and he built this tower, the first modern tall wood building in the United States, with trees killed by the mountain pine beetle.
Forestry is a complicated animal in different parts of the world, but when we get it right, meaning we're replanting, we can actually create a harmony where we're growing more trees, young trees are sequestering carbon faster than old trees, and we can actually create a cycle of planting trees and using wood that actually captures more carbon than if we just left the forest as a native forest.
For this building, Michael's team used cross-laminated timber. It's made of small pieces of wood glued together at right angles to form giant wooden panels, 10 feet wide and up to 60 feet long. It's an increasingly popular material around the world.
By making them so big, it allows us to tilt up and build this building very quickly, very efficiently, and very robustly, which is what we want to do. It's a building that we want to last for centuries.
Michael Green and Stefano Boeri are both campaigning for a more sustainable architecture. While Green lobbies local governments around the world to try and change their perception of tall wood structures, Boeri continues to work on smart city projects that make more space for trees.
We do our best to imagine new cities that from the beginning they have the forest and the cities together, so the living nature together with human behaviors.
Building codes are changing to allow us to build really tall wood buildings. That's a big game changer. These are the things that we need to see happen in order for us to change the way we build and start to address this climate crisis that we're all ultimately in.
I'm back with Stéphane Allaire from Reforest Action. So some really nice building designs that we're seeing here using wood and even trees. So what are the conditions for this wood-based model to work and be truly sustainable?
Well, to be truly sustainable, they need to use trees produced locally, ideally, and in sustainable managed forests. We need to be very cautious of not destroying forest to build houses or buildings. If we build every single house in wood, the forest may not be sufficient to provide the wood.
FAO figures show that 1/3 of the world's 60,000 different species of trees have been placed on the red list of endangered species. What is currently being done to save them?
A number of things. First of all, laws are reinforced to fight illegal logging, which is a huge issue in Africa, South America and Asia especially. But also everybody pays more attention to the label. When you buy labeled wood, that fights deforestation and that protects endangered species. Also in Europe, we migrate trees from the south of France up to the north so they can be more adapted to the new climate conditions. And finally, what we can do is to promote diverse forests.
Agroforestry seems to be a popular solution worldwide to create new ecosystems thanks to the presence of different varieties of trees. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yes, we are very keen on agroforestry ourselves. It has a positive impact for a number of reasons. We are in open fields, right? And we reintroduce trees in crops. So we plant trees, different types of trees within the crops. So it brings biodiversity, but also it enriches the soil thanks to the trees, which is good also for the crops.
Thank you, Stéphane. It's time for a quick break. When we are back, we'll dive deeper into France's forest protection plan.
I think we have very beautiful forest, lots of biodiversity, lots of tree species, lots of plant species, lots of wild animals.